What's up, big ballers, shot callers? Welcome from the Grid to Rim Sports Talk Show. Big Ken here. Got a new guest today. One of my fellow football officials, Jay. How you doing, brother? Thanks for being on the show.
Good. Thanks for having me, Ken.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you, man. Well, we know each other for a couple months now since you started football, and you're a big baseball guy. So how's the college baseball going, man? I know you're doing some college baseball too.
I just did some of my first college fall ball scrimmage on Saturday, so I did two of them down in Lacey. It was a pretty good time. I mean, still learning a lot on that end. It's a big difference between high school and college. So just
Yeah,
learning
absolutely.
and
That's
having a great
awesome
time.
though. And you're doing well as a football official in your first year. You're already doing some varsity games, man. So you're off to a pretty dang good start, I would say.
Yeah, it feels like it. Learning a lot there too. Just
Yeah.
trying to figure out my place.
Yeah, we've had a couple of games together, man. You've done good. Um, let's talk some topics for today's show. Obviously, college and NFL football. Man, there was a lot of big upsets this weekend in college football. Number one, Alabama going down. Number four, Tennessee going down. Nine, Mizzou going down. Wasn't really a big surprise at Texas A&M, but they still went down. Number 10, Michigan wasn't a big surprise at UW, and I was at that game live with one of my work friends, and you know it was 17-17 going to the fourth quarter, but UW played a much better fourth quarter to win that game. So a lot of upsets in college football. Um, some NFL topics. We're going to go over the rookie quarterbacks are all starting to play well. Some of them got to a slow start, but they seem to be picking it up. Some of the rookie quarterbacks out there. Jets coach got fired, which I think we all saw coming. So, but he got fired. Then there's some surprising losses this week in the NFL also. So we'll talk about that. But let's get into some college football, Jay. I was so surprised about Alabama, man. Like obviously they could lose the game, but I did not think they're going to lose to Vanderbilt. That's not even a football school. So that number one team goes down after just a huge win against Georgia the week before. I don't know if it was a letdown or what, but I mean, Alabama has never, I don't know when the last time, Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, but probably wasn't in my lifetime. So, it
Yeah, I
was a
don't
long
know, but
time ago.
Vanderbilt's just been really good this year. Like they're one of those sleep teams that came out of nowhere this year. And that quarterback they got, that dude is on fire right now.
Yeah. He tore Alabama up. I think he's only like a two-star recruit.
Yeah, I don't know where he came from, but that dude he's tearing up the college ranks right now.
Well, good for him and good for Vanderbilt because it's been a long time since they've been any good in football. I mean, I think last year or the year before they're kind of showing some signs of getting better. They're playing like almost 500 for the season. Like they were definitely not like a 1-11 team like they usually are. Like they had like I think they had like 5 wins last year, so they were like a little bit better. But it looks like this year they're kind of over the hump, man. So good for them.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll take it. I mean, as a Texas fan, I love it when Alabama and Georgia both lose in a season. That gets us back to number one, and we'll see Georgia in 2 weeks, so we'll see how that goes.
yeah, yeah. I like it when Alabama loses all the time too. Cause I just get tired of hearing about Alabama. So anytime they lose, I'm happy. It doesn't matter who it's against. So, I got obviously some friends that are Alabama fans, and I know they're upset with me for saying that, but I don't care. I just don't like Alabama, man.
Yeah, same.
Uh, Tennessee, number four, Tennessee lost. I mean, that's kind of surprising too. They played a better team. I won't say a better team, but they played Arkansas, and Arkansas has had some good years in the past, but they've been down lately. But they've been good in the past. Maybe this year they're much improved. Also, I mean, haven't really seen them play, but it was surprising that they lost to Arkansas. I don't know if you know how many shows you watched me do, Jay, but my best friend Monty and I were going actually to Tennessee. I mentioned on the show a couple of times. I don't know if you watched those shows or not, but we're going to Tennessee here pretty soon to go visit my mom and dad. We're going to a Tennessee football game. The Tennessee is going to take on Kentucky on November 2nd, so we're going to be at that game. So never seen Tennessee play before. but I'm gonna see them play for the first time live. But I was kind of surprised
Got
Tennessee lost too, but they haven't really played anybody yet, so I don't know how to rate them. I know they got a
Yeah, that's
really
kind of what I was thinking. Arkansas, this was supposed to be their year. They were supposed to be the up and coming team in the SEC, and they were supposed to be a big powerhouse within the SEC this year. They kind of fell off. So the fact that they beat a number four Tennessee, I wasn't too surprised because you're like you said, Tennessee just hasn't played anybody this year, and that's kind of the problem with the SEC in the first few weeks is they don't play anybody, and then they get into SEC games and they destroy each other, and or you see what they really are.
yeah. No, absolutely. I definitely think Tennessee's good. My dad's down there, and I know he follows them a lot. And we're not originally from Tennessee, but he knows a lot about their team, and they're pretty deep. They're loaded. They're loaded on both sides of the ball. But like you said, because I was even telling my dad and my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is also in Tennessee with my sister, and they're all close together, within like 20 or 30 miles of each other. But you know, I said we won't know how Tennessee is until SEC play. I still think they're gonna be good. I'm not saying Tennessee's just gonna have this horrible year now. They're not. They still could make the college football playoffs, but like you said, we don't know. We really didn't know where they were at until they started getting into conference play. So I'm with you. What do you think about the Mizzou Texas A&M game? Me and Monty predicted Texas A&M to win. I just didn't think they'd win by as big. You know.
Yeah, I'm not an A&M fan. I'm a Texas fan, so I always love if the Aggies lose. Unfortunately, this time I wasn't surprised that they beat Mizzou. I felt Mizzou's been overrated all year. Um, I think Texas A&M coming in as an underdog, and they had something to prove after that Notre Dame loss in Week 1. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, good
I
point.
think I, I think that was a not a surprise.
No, I don't think anyone was surprised. I think that was the least surprising out of all of them. And maybe Michigan, the one I'm about to bring up next. I'm a big Michigan fan, and you know, I said on last week's show I don't think Michigan is a legit top 10 team, and I love Michigan. I'm always going to love Michigan, like you're always going to love Texas. I'm always
Yep.
going to be loyal to them, and I follow Texas also since I have some roots in Texas too. My dad being me being an Army brat, my dad being stationed at Fort Bliss in El Paso. I do follow the Texas Longhorns. So like their team I always kind of watch, but Michigan's always my number one. But I do follow Texas, and of course I like the Cowboys in NFL because you know when I got the high school down there, that kind of got me started on the Cowboys, man. High school when I was in high school, I started liking the
Yep.
Cowboys. So
And
I
I
know you
grew up
hate
an
them.
Oilers.
I know you like the Texans. So
I grew up an Oilers fan, and then when they left us, I left them. So
yeah, I got you. And now you're a Texans fan.
yes, sir.
Bra- Brandon just texted me. Oh, he's gonna come on. So okay. So when he comes on, we'll get him into the show. So Brandon's gonna have a late he's gonna come in a little late here, but that's good.
Sounds
Um yeah, back to college football though. Yeah, not surprised. Like I said, my loyalty is Michigan, but I'm not surprised they lost. Because their offense has been struggling all year from week one. Had quarterback issues all year long. They did switch their quarterback in the middle of the game to Tuttle, which I agreed with that. That made a difference because they were down 14-0. Then he makes it 14-10 at halftime, and then I don't know if you're watching that game, but Michigan actually took the lead in the first half. In the first drive of the third quarter, scoring 17-14, running like 6 minutes off the clock, up 17-14, middle of the third quarter. They had all the momentum, but the fourth quarter has always been their Achilles heel this year, letting teams back in the games and barely holding on to win, like against Minnesota the week before, and after having a big 21-point lead, and they did it again. They had two big turnovers in the fourth quarter, middle of the fourth quarter, and UW capitalized at scoring 10 points, and that was the game, 27, 17 off those turnovers to make it a short field for UW, and that was the game. So did you catch the Michigan game, or you just saw the score?
I caught the end of it. I was coming back from those college baseball games
Right.
on Saturday, and I caught the very tail end of that game when it was kind of close. They both had a chance to win that game. Michigan had the ball and then turned it over. couple times, I believe, if I remember
Yeah, it was
correctly.
twice. It was like two
Yeah,
possessions in a row. Yeah,
yeah,
they had the fumble on like I think on their own 30 or 35. So UW had a short field. They scored a touchdown. It was like 24-17. Of course, Michigan got the ball right back, and then there was about 6 minutes to go in the game, 6 or 6.5 minutes. So they had a chance to score. But I told my friend who went to the game was like, they got to score now, man. There's 6 minutes. There's 6 minutes. They got. This is a drive. They got to score, man.
yeah.
And but they're able to get one first down barely. They had to go for it on 4th and inches, like on their own 35. It was insane. They barely got that. I mean,
Yep.
so they were struggling, man, on offense. And then like 2 plays later, he threw an interception. He tried throwing an out route to the sideline to Loveland, the tight end, and the UW defender just made a great play on the ball. He made this amazing diving catch inbounds, held on to the ball as he hit the ground. It didn't come out, and yeah, UW kicked another field goal, 2-score lead with a minute and a half. It was over. It was
Yep.
over. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember seeing that, thinking it was a great catch and a great call on the officials by calling that a catch, because it could have gone the other way around.
absolutely. It could have went the other way around, and it was yeah. Michigan fell all the way to 24. I think Alabama fell to set number 7. Tennessee fell, and Brandon's coming on. Tennessee fell to number 8, and I don't know if Mizzou's in the top 25 anymore after that loss.
Well, I
If
don't
they
know.
are, they're barely. Michigan barely held on, but they didn't get blown out.
Mizzou's 21.
They're 21. Okay, so they're still
Mm,
in. I was like, that'd be pretty
yeah,
harsh to take them out, but they're still in it. Them and Michigan are just barely holding on to top 25 spots.
yeah.
And you know, as much as what's up, Brandon? How you doing, brother?
Hey, good. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm good. So we're in the middle of a college football talk right now. We're talking about some of these upsets, man. Did you catch any of them in the games?
I really didn't. I was at work, so I did not catch any of the college football games. I was here for the big news today.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
hey Brandon and Jay, have you guys met each other?
I'm not sure.
It,
Possibly.
I think I've seen you at some of the meetings this
Yeah.
week.
well, anyways, if you guys haven't met, you guys know each other now. Like both you guys, obviously football officials. I told Jay that you're taking a break this year because your schedule for your sub and everything, and things are getting crazy. So you're taking a break from football right now. Um, so we get end the college talk. We're talking about. Well, let's say this. I will say. Well, I know you didn't watch the game, Brandon, but I do. I will ask you guys a question about college football before we move on to NFL. Do you think Tennessee and Alabama will still be in the top 12 at the end of the year to make the college football playoffs with the new college football format this year with 12 teams? I'll start with you, Brandon. Do you think Alabama and Tennessee will be in it? One of them or both of them? None of them?
Mm, I can see at least one of them in it. It's depending on how it plays out, because there's still a lot of games to go, and it's the SEC, so and
Yeah,
a lot of tough teams. They still got to play both ways. I think I can see Bama losing again. I can see and I can see Tennessee maybe winning out. I got to take a look at what their schedules are, but I think Tennessee's legit, and Bama's just kind of living off of their name right now. Personally, they've been really close to losing a few other games earlier this year.
yeah. We didn't know how good Tennessee was either. I think Tennessee is good because my dad follows them, like I was talking with Jay about. But one thing me and Jay were saying about Tennessee was, before he got on the show, was Tennessee hadn't really played anyone yet until last week. They did beat Oklahoma in Oklahoma, which that was a ranked team, so that was a good win. But their first 3 games were just all cupcakes, so we didn't really know where Tennessee was at this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Then they lose to Arkansas 19-14. I mean, one loss isn't going to kill them,
No,
you
no.
know, but they can't lose another one. So I still know, but I still know Well, I know Tennessee's playing Kentucky. I know that much. 'Cause I'm going to that game November 2nd, like I told Jay. So I'll be in Tennessee for November. Me and Monty will be in Tennessee for the November 2nd game, like I said earlier on this show. So we're
That'd be
visiting
awesome.
my mom and dad down there, and my dad has tickets for the game, so we're going to that. Hopefully, Kentucky looks like they're no joke either, though. They almost beat Georgia a couple weeks ago. They look kind of like they're strong, man.
Yeah,
So,
they did.
so I don't know how that's going to go. What do you think, Jay? What do you think about this whole Tennessee Alabama thing? You got any feedback on that? Like, who do you think would you think that one of them would get in, or they'll both be out?
I think there's a possibility that they're both in. Um, like Brandon said, there's still a lot of games left to play, man. We're still early in the season. Literally anything could happen, in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah,
Um, I think Tennessee's got a good road ahead of them to where they could win out. So I'd agree with Brandon on that one. And then Alabama, I think, is still trying to figure out who they are with this new head coach and trying to figure out what direction they're trying to go in. Um, and I don't think they have any other power SEC games left on their schedule. I don't really know. I haven't looked at their schedule, but they don't play Texas. They've already played Georgia. I don't know if they play Tennessee or not. Because the SEC schedule is kind of weird this year, where they don't have divisions and they just kind of scrambled it up.
Hmm.
So I think it could go either way with both of them.
yeah, I agree. I think they are playing. I should have looked at that before the show, but I think Alabama is playing Tennessee. I know Tennessee's definitely playing Florida. That's a rivalry game for them. Yeah, I think they're playing, but I know they played each other the last 2 years. But this schedule is like a little bit weird this year, so we'll see. We'll definitely see. Um, I know Michigan. I know my boys Michigan aren't going to be in. I know that for a fact. So they've already got 2 losses. Probably going to take 2 or 3 more before the season's over with. I expect Michigan to have 4 losses this year. They're going to be 8-4, just going to a regular bowl game, and hopefully they show up for that bowl game and are not all pissed off and they don't play well somewhere against another conference. That'll piss me off even more. But I know their college football playoff chances are done. But I kind of thought that honestly after week one, it's like they beat Fresno State. I was worried like they don't look very good. So no brainer there. All right, NFL man. I know Brandon's got some things to say about the coach. Before we get into that, I think some of the rookie quarterbacks are playing really, really well. Some of them got the slow starts. Caleb Williams got the slow start. Bo Nix got the slow start, but they seem to be picking up. Jayden Daniels has been on fire since week one and hasn't like really slowed down yet. So, what's your guys' thoughts on these rookie quarterbacks? Brandon,
I
I'm going
think
to start with you, Brandon.
Man, it's they've Bo Nix doesn't look to be playing well, but that defense is really holding up strong to where they don't have to score a lot of points right now. That defense is scoring some points for them anyways. So as long as he's not making mistakes, they're capable of winning games because it's hard to score 2 touchdowns on Denver right now. Jayden Daniels, man, that's a culture changer of a player right there. That they are really playing some good football.
I
He's
can't
quite
believe it. Yeah, Washington hasn't been this good since God knows when. Yeah, like a long time.
yeah.
It's
And
not this good of a start at least. Yeah,
yeah,
that's crazy.
and from what I see in Caleb Williams, it's just kind of those rookie woes. We saw him struggle in college against the better teams, and then he comes to the NFL where you're playing the best of the best, and he struggled at first, but I looks like I'm just really seeing him on red zone. I'm not really watching their games, but he just seems to be getting a little bit more comfortable in the offense. And maybe Keenan Allen come back and help him out too. He's going to need that.
Keenan
But
Allen's back, I think. He's
okay,
still strong, a little slow. He got back like a week ago, I think 2 games ago, but he's not like on all cylinders right now. But I think he's back.
yeah, they
Um,
have rookie quarterbacks. They're playing well. I think McCarthy and who's the
McCarthy's out for the knee injury, of course.
who was the other one that went first round?
The New England Patriots guy, but he's not playing. Drake May,
Oh,
I think
May.
Drake May's making his first start though. I think they're taking out what's his face, Jacoby Brissett.
That might be too soon for me, but I
I
mean,
think so too. I think they're making a mistake. They should let him sit the whole year and let him learn.
yeah,
It's going to be like the situation in Carolina with Bryce Young. It could be that because I don't think old boy is going to change their offense. Like they're in rebuilding mode in New England, and I don't think he's going to do anything different than what Jacoby Brissett is doing, man. I think it's a mistake.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think, Jay, about all this stuff?
Man, I've seen Caleb Williams play one full game when he played the Texans. He definitely does not play well under pressure, from what I've seen in that game. But since then, he has grown. You see growing every week to week as he gets more further along in his rookie season. Jayden Daniels, man, that dude, he continues what he's doing. That is hands down the rookie of the year. That kid is playing some football.
Yeah.
Him and Terry McLaurin are on a path, like on a war path.
Yeah, I can't believe they're 4-1, man. I can't believe it.
They're 4-1 and just tearing up the East right now.
Yeah, they're one game ahead of the Cowboys, and and I don't think the Eagles have played yet. They're playing when are they? Did they have a bye week I think they had a bye week this week or something.
Eagles want to bye, yeah.
Yeah, because they're still 2-2. Yeah, so Cowboys are 3-2, one game behind Washington. Yeah, I saw Caleb Williams' stats. That was by far his best game last game against Carolina. He was 20 out of 29, over 300 yards, and 2 touchdown passes to DJ Moore. So he had a really good game. In the game before, I think he threw close to 300 yards also. So he's had back-to-back good games. But in the second to last game, I do think he had a couple picks with a couple interceptions. But this last game, he had no interceptions and the 2 touchdowns. So he looked really good. That was by far his best game so far. And he was also able to rush for a couple first downs. So I think he's starting to use his legs, comfortably, because we know he's a good athlete. Maybe not quite as good as Jayden Daniels, but pretty damn good. They can both run. That's what surprised me about Jayden Daniels is, man, he's doing it with his legs and his arm. He just looks really comfortable out there. Like, he's making all throws. I mean, he's dropping dimes when he's got someone in his face. Like, not the game against Cleveland this weekend, but the week before, he dropped that dime to McLaurin, like, Jay was saying, like, right in the end zone with a guy that's all over him. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, dude, that was like a 40-yard throw. I mean, oh my God. I mean, that was perfect. I mean, couldn't ask for anything more than that. But I was like, oh my goodness, man. But let's get into Bo Nix real quick before we get into Brandon's subject. I know he's waiting for him. I think you're right. Denver's defense is their number one strength. I do think Bo Nix did have his best game last week also, just like Caleb Williams. I do think he threw for some decent stats and had a decent completion percentage. So, but the first 3 games, you're right, he was not doing much of anything except maybe trying to manage the game and let the defense do everything else. But he seems like he's starting to throw the ball a little bit better. Not on like Jayden Daniels level right now, but he seems like he's good. Like Caleb Williams and like, Jay said, like they seem to get a little more, they're settling in a little bit more, it seems like. So they're getting a little bit better week to week. So
it takes time. I'm not running him off, but he's got a ways to go as far
as yeah. Bo Nix was like, out of all the rookie quarterbacks, I had him going last in the draft. So So I thought other guys would do better. Well, maybe McCarthy. I thought JJ McCarthy might be a bust, but he didn't play, so we don't know yet. So him being injured is probably like a blessing in disguise. I mean, you talked about, I think, a previous show, Brandon, where he gets to sit and learn. So let's talk about the Jets, Brandon, your subject. Man, I'll let you talk about this, man. Your coach, man. Fill us in on your coach, or used to be coach.
Yeah, man. I appreciate having me. I got to get back to my plans after this. I just had to make sure I made an appearance.
Yeah, I meant to bring it up sooner because I don't want to get you in trouble, man. Sorry. We're just in the middle of the other subjects. So.
Oh, no. I appreciate it. No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, so I gotta say, just as I was shocked, I was surprised. I was not expecting this yet. As far as the fan in me, I'm very happy that Robert Saleh is gone, that this coach is gone. It's so happy that I don't have to see him staring out into the middle distance with his arms crossed, just looking defeated already in the middle of the game constantly with a blank stare. I don't have to look at this anymore. I don't have to just see him celebrating like a cheerleader on the sidelines, just because anyone that just scored a touchdown saving his job at the moment, any sack, he just looked like a guy that was playing for his job. But realistically, just this firing just doesn't make sense for the timing. If you want to turn the season around now, going into week 6 when you're playing for the divisional lead, then why'd you even bring this guy back to begin with? You didn't really give him a chance, but you already know that he's not the guy. So why did he come back?
Right. That is weird. I agree. The timing is very strange. Yeah.
Weird, and there's a lot of things that are going on that I've read. I've already listened to Garofalo and Tom Pellisario, Rich Eisen, all the shows on WFAN, and there could be some things we'll find out later. Now he's Lebanese born, or he's not born in Lebanese, but his parents are from Lebanon, and he wore the Lebanon flag. And with the political things going on right now, maybe that's a factor. Losing in the UK in front of Woody Johnson and his friend, where he was former President Trump's ambassador for the UK. Maybe that did it also. But on top of those two things to salvage the season, I don't know what all these options are. And there was apparently a meeting that happened Monday night between Albright, Roger, an unnamed player, but we know who that is, Rodgers, and they had a meeting, and Joe Douglas didn't know about this until 15 minutes before Saleh was fired, that Saleh was getting fired. So they're already going behind the GM's back, which gives me a good feeling that he's going to be gone too. So that gives me a good feeling that that's going to happen in the season. He's in the last year of his contract anyway. So with Douglas gone, potentially, Saleh definitely gone. And now the big problem is Nathaniel Hackett, the OC.
Yeah, so let me ask you about that. Because they're doing nothing on offense. Yeah, they got no answers, it seems like.
Rodgers has been bad. Hackett's been bad. But the thing with, if you're going to get rid of any of the coaches, it's got to be Saleh, because the team is completely undisciplined. The team is never prepared. And there's just frustration in the locker room, and nobody's getting held accountable, because the players are even saying that after games. So you're holding the guy that's really should be in charge of all that's not doing his job there. Now, Saleh's been sitting in on these offensive meetings for the first time this year. So I don't know what's really going on with the play calling, and if he's actually having control of saying, oh, run it down the middle on 3rd and 1. Oh, run it down the middle on 4th and 1. I don't really know who's doing all that, but whether it's Saleh, whether it's Hackett, I don't know. But Hackett needs to go too, because he's just as responsible for this terrible offense that we've been seeing, and we're not utilizing our best players. So I don't really think there's some other things going on where Rodgers got Saleh fired to save Hackett's job. I don't really think that's the case. I feel like that's like one truth and two lies.
Yeah.
But
I know Hackett and Rodgers are close, though, because they were in Green Bay together, right, as his offensive coordinator or whatever.
Right, and you don't want to get rid of Hackett right now, because getting rid of Saleh, we still have Jeff Albright to really uphold the defense right now. So the defense will still look the same. But as far as the offense, if you bring in a new coordinator, you got a new playbook with new signals, with now if someone that has to learn to work with Rodgers, someone that Rodgers has to work with and understand, and you got the players doing different things, that's going to be way too much change if you just get rid of the offense. The defense, but to bring in Albright as that even irritates me, because I want him back as DC next year. But now that we've made him interim head coach, we're gonna have to get rid of him end of the season, because they're not going to really seriously look at him as the next head coach. It's probably going to be Vrabel, I hope. But now you just really ruined your defensive coordinator next season, which means that now you have to change your schemes and you have to change your personnel, because you're going to have a new look on defense. And it's just, they've really shot themselves in the foot with this firing right this early.
I agree, man. You got it locked down, man. Like, yeah, a lot of things going on in New York. And that one guy still isn't playing, right? The one guy we're talking at the very beginning of the year, the linebacker that went there, he's not playing, right? He's still negotiating his contract.
I don't think he's ever going to play for the Jets.
Yeah, can't remember I know his name's on tip of my tongue. You know his name, huh?
Hassan Reddick.
Hassan Reddick, that's right.
Yeah, he's never going to play for us. That was a waste. What a disaster. Another great move by our GM. Joe Douglas.
Yeah, that's just crazy, man. You signed this guy you mentioned he had like 50 sacks like in the last 5 years or something like that. He was one of the only few players to have like 10 sacks like so many years in a row. He had some crazy
it's like
that you're talking about at the beginning of the season.
It was like 10 or more sacks with 3 different teams, 3 straight seasons.
That's like 3 straight seasons. I thought you said 5. That's even crazier, but 3 is still a lot with different teams. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's every year you're just doing the same thing with different defensive coordinator, different players. That's insane, man.
it's just a brand new cycle of what's probably going to be an underwhelming season next season. Just even looking ahead of that, I really thought Saleh might get canned after losing to Buffalo and then losing to Pittsburgh the week after. I thought that would be it, but it's just gonna this is just a bad chain reaction. But I mean, it's good to see them getting rid of the people we need to, but I just got a bad feeling that this was just
the timing's weird. They should have done it before the season started or after, not in the middle. Usually when something happens in the middle of the season is because, like, well, at least in college football, it's all because there's some kind of scandal, you know, like a sexual assault scandal or harassment or, you know, something. Well, now there's nothing with money now because of NIL. Like if there's some kind of booster issues or something, like guys get suspended, but I don't see it so much in the NFL. Guys don't get fired too much in the middle of the season.
No.
NFL. They usually wait to the end of the year. Yeah. But Nathaniel Hackett did get fired as the Denver head coach in the middle of the year. He was by far the worst head coach in the history, probably of head coaching in the NFL. Like
it was bad.
That was bad, man. Never seen a guy get fired in the middle of the year. Now there's 2 in a row. Now him and Saleh. So but Hackett was the first one I'd ever seen not make it a full year, which is crazy, man. They should give you like 2 or 3 years to see if you can like build something, you know? So crazy.
You would think, man.
All right, man.
Yep. Thanks for having me, man. I'll
let you get back, man.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming on, Brandon.
Sure. Take care, y'all. Have a good one.
See you, Brandon.
Let's see you, Jay. Bye-bye.
All right, let's get into Brandon covered the Jets like I knew he would. Yeah, man. He's all over the Jets, man. He loves the Jets. He knows them in and out. Let's talk about some surprises, though. Some of these losses, man. Seahawks lost at home and San Francisco 49ers lost at home. Seahawks lost to the Giants, San Francisco lost to the Cardinals. Which one is more surprising to you, Jay?
More surprising to me was the Seattle loss. And I'll tell you why. The reason I think the Seattle loss was bigger was because the Giants just haven't done anything. Seattle started the season hot. They started at 3-0, you know.
Right.
And then the last 2 games just kind of laid an egg. Not sure what happened there with their offense not being able to move the ball. Gino had that game, what was it, last week against the Lions, and threw for 400 yards and I think 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he killed it even though they lost. Yeah, their offense hung in there.
Even though they lost, but I mean, it's Detroit, and Detroit's on fire right now.
Yeah, Detroit's very good the last couple of years. Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean,
they're trying to score.
The fact that they lost that game to Detroit didn't surprise me, but the loss to the Giants.
Yeah, Detroit loss didn't surprise me either because they were just trying to keep up with the score because the Seattle's defense couldn't stop them. It was a shootout for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and then San Francisco, like they're so riddled with injuries. They've got backups playing, you know, third stringers playing.
Yeah,
they've got Deebo Samuels is not 100%. Brandon Ayuk hasn't been the Brandon Ayuk of past.
Nope.
And Brock Purdy just isn't looking like Brock Purdy.
No, he's not. Mr. Irrelevant is finally kind of looking a little shaky. He hasn't looked shaky yet, but he is looking a little bit off this year. But Ayuk finally did have a good game, but he couldn't get in the end zone. I don't think he has a touchdown pass catch yet, but he did have 6 or 7. He had 6 or 7 catches, which was by far his most for any game this season. So he did better on that end, but he couldn't get into the end zone though. So he's not playing like we thought he would after that he got the contract. So they're all off the slow starts, and like you said, they're very hurt. They have a lot of players injured, like you said. I was surprised with Seahawks losing too. I did not think, just like you said, Jay, I thought the Giants haven't had anything on offense in a long time, and they had the one good year a couple years ago where they made it to the playoffs, and you know, Daniel Jones upset, you know, Kirk Cousins in Minnesota in the wild card game. That surprised everybody. Then they gave him the big contract, you know, and he hasn't done anything since then. But he has played good about 2 weeks in a row. So maybe Daniel Jones is he's finally doing what everyone thought he was going to do 2 years. I don't think so.
I don't think so at all.
I don't think so, but he looked good for a couple of games this year, so we'll see, man. But I don't think so.
I don't think Daniel Jones is the answer for the Giants. I think this year they need to they need to rethink their offense and go get themselves a quarterback, whether it be in free agency or via the draft. But I don't think Daniel Jones is the answer that they
I
need.
don't think so either. Me and Monty were saying that a couple shows ago. Like, we don't know if he'll make it the whole year in New York, but he played good against Seahawks though for some reason. I know that.
I think he'll make it. I think he'll make it the year because who has he got for his backup? Tyrod Taylor, I
Yeah,
think is his backup right now, and he's a journeyman backup.
right.
He played for what 5 or 6 different
Yeah,
teams
he's been
now.
around the league, man. He had
He's
some
been
good years in
around.
Buffalo early on. He got the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs, I think, a couple
Yeah,
times.
yeah, and he had a couple good year or a good year or a good few games for my Texans a couple years ago when we were
Yeah,
between quarterbacks. When we had Deshaun Watson with his legal issues.
right.
But
I
other
remember
than
that.
that, I don't think either one of those guys are the answers for the Giants.
Nope. No, Tyrod Taylor's just a journeyman. He was okay for a while, but yeah, he's just a guy he can serve you well for a couple of games here and there when but not for like a full season. But he can come
Yeah,
in if your quarterback gets hurt and maybe try to finish the game. He might be able to come out with a victory and maybe start a couple of games until the guy comes back. But he's not a starter in the league, that's for sure.
no.
Um, let's go into my Cowboys, man. Golly, man. They won 2017 on a 4th and goal play with 20 seconds to go. They should have won by 2 or 3 scores. If Dak Prescott would stop throwing interceptions and like losing and fumbling the ball inside the red zone, and then they got a field goal blocked. I'm like, what is going on, man? Like, Pittsburgh's just staying in this game, even though like Dallas Cowboys just lighting them up all over the stat sheet. You know, got like twice as many yards as them, twice as many first downs, got ball possession. You know, they're going down the field almost every drive except for maybe 1 or 2 drives they punted it, but they're mostly going on the field most of the game, without any problems, and then they get in the red zone, they just kind of collapse. But I was happy to see Dak Prescott bounce back. I know a lot of people don't like Dak. They don't think he should be the quarterback, but I do like him for some reason. I just like how he could bounce back. I don't know what your thoughts are. I never talked to you about Dak at all. I know you're a Houston Texans fan, but I like the way Dak bounced back, put it that way. Like, he always shows like I think he has some resilience, put it that way. I think he's very resilient at times.
Yeah, I'll give him that. The man is resilient. I don't believe that he is the answer for Dallas either, and I don't think Jerry Jones is going to withstand much more of him if he can't get a little bit further in the playoffs.
Oh, I agree with
Uh,
you there. His playoff record is his curse. Dak Prescott and Tony Romo are both kind of like, I won't say similar, but they have very similar stats in the playoffs. They were both really good regular season quarterbacks, getting the Cowboys to the playoffs 5 or 6 times. Dak Prescott is 2-5 in the playoffs, so he's gotten the Cowboys to the playoffs 5 years, but only got 2 wins out of it. And then Romo was very similar. I think he was like 2-4 or 2-5 himself.
yeah,
So
their track record in the playoffs are pretty similar.
they're pretty close. They both get us to the playoffs and play good in the regular season, but then they get to the playoffs. But it's not just them. It just seems like the whole entire Cowboys team does not. They get. I don't know what happens in the playoffs. It's in their head. It's mental.
Yeah.
You saw that in the Green Bay game last year. I was still
Yeah.
surprised that Green Bay beat them the way they did. I was like, oh my god, what's going on here, man? So yeah,
I
they
think
have.
you
They have
Cowboys fans were the only ones that were surprised by that.
what's that?
So I think you Cowboys fans were the only ones that were surprised by that.
Yeah, I know, probably. Yeah. Well, the reason why was because Green Bay was a 7 seed and Cowboys were a 2 seed. I think that was the first time in a while that a 7 seed beat a 2 seed at home. It was some Cowboys set NFL playoff record, but for all the wrong reasons. And they did the same thing the year before. They won the game against Tampa Bay Bucks, but their field goal kicker missed 5 extra points in a row. They still won the game big, but the last couple of years they've made some, records in the playoffs that don't serve them too well. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but Cowboys won the game though. Dak came through, man, and I was glad to see that some other players besides CeeDee Lamb stepped up, because that was the talk, was like CeeDee Lamb has to do everything, but all kinds of guys showed up. Dottle had his best running game. multiple receivers showed up. Turpin was big on receiving it, and the guy who got the game-winning touchdown, I know his name. I'm losing. I had it written down, but number one, he had like 7 or 8 catches for that game and the game-winning touchdown. I know his name. Sorry, Cowboys fans, I'm just data dumping here, but yeah, he had a good game. But more guys in CeeDee Lamb just showed up, so I was happy to see that. And the best thing was our running game was by far the best running game we had all year long, and the defense played well with 3 guys being out of the lineup. Especially Micah Parsons and Lawrence, and I thought the Cowboys might get ran over on defense, and they looked good on defense pretty much all night. So they played well. But
Yeah.
they should have won by more. They should have won by a lot more. Should have never been close. Never been close.
I mean, didn't Justin Fields get hurt in that game too and come out?
I don't think he got hurt. Well, he got lit up, and they took him out for a play because they wanted him to check for a concussion. Cowboys defender got called for, unnecessary roughness.
Yeah.
He lit him up pretty good. I'm surprised he wasn't hurt because he smacked him pretty good, and he didn't see it coming either. Like, he lit him up. It was almost targeting. But yeah, it was almost like a blindside block, but it's against the quarterback, so it's unnecessary roughness. But yeah, he didn't see it coming, and he got lit up. Let's get into some picks.
All right.
Thursday night football, the first game of this week, obviously. 2 teams we were just talking about. 49ers at the Seahawks, man. Who do you got, man? Are the Seahawks going to lose 2 in a row at home?
I don't think Seahawks are going to lose two in a row at home. We talked about San Francisco and their injury-riddled team right now, and they're just not looking that great. I don't know if Kittle's coming back this week or not. But I'm going to take Seattle at home on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Seattle will win too. I don't think they're going to lose 2 in a row and, in front of the 12s. I think they'll win. Yeah. But I'm surprised how bad I'm not surprised because 49ers have too many players hurt. That's why they're 2 and 3. I didn't think they'll be 2 and 3 at this point in the season, but their injuries have really hurt them. Yeah, but I got Seahawks. They'll bounce back, I think, and get back on a winning track here. Next game, Jags at Bears. Jags finally got their first win of the season. Bears are playing better. They're actually 3 and 2. I don't think they've been 3 and 2 the first 5 games of the year in a long time with a winning record 5 games into the season. Who you got in this one?
Man, I'm going to stick with my AFC South on this one, and I'm going to take the Jags. I think they got something to prove coming into Chicago. And I see Trevor Lawrence picking up his game a little bit and maybe getting wrong team. But getting his receivers into the game and actually throwing some passes downfield and hopefully getting that running game with Travis Etienne.
Yeah, Etienne, man, is important for him. Yeah, if he gets going, they're a lot better. That's a hard one, but you know what? I'm gonna go with you. Caleb Williams and them are playing better. I think the Jags will kind of make a little bit of a run here to make things interesting in their division. You're right. I think the Jags will. They just had to get that one win to get their confidence, and now I think they're gonna roll with it. So yeah, I got the Jags. I got the Jags too, man. Bucks at the Saints, man. Who you got? Saints start off 2-0, but they've fallen since, man. Losing 3 in a row, not looking good last night. Didn't see the game, but I know. I mean, the game was close, but the stats were completely lopsided. I saw that. I looked at the stats.
Yeah, I didn't see the game last night either, but going into the pick, I think Tampa Bay is going to bounce back from that loss at Atlanta.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think they're going to roll into New Orleans and take out the Saints.
I'm with you 2 times in a row here. I got the Bucks winning. Bucks quarterback Baker Mayfield's found a home there, man. They're playing well. I like Evans. I like their whole entire team, man. Bucks have a good team, man. Commanders at Ravens. Who do you got? I think Commanders are going to cool off finally. That's what I think, but I'll let you talk first.
Yeah, I agree. I think as hot as the Commanders are right now, I think the Ravens are even hotter, even though they've lost 2 games this year so far. I don't see them overcoming the Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson combo duo.
No.
So I got Baltimore winning this one big.
Yeah, me too. Baltimore did lose 2 games, but they've won a couple in a row now. They're 3-2. They look really good. Yeah, they just need to feed Derrick Henry the ball, man. And they got Lamar Jackson. He's got good receivers. He's got Flowers. He's got Likely, who was emerging as a good tight end. And they got other players, and they have other good running back. They have good running backs also. It seems like they always find good running backs besides Henry. Like they're just loaded at running back, man, every year.
Yep.
They can always pound the ball, and they have a really good defense also, man. Like their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, they've
We're
got
not
a
as
top
good as,
five defense.
huh?
They've got a top five defense in the NFL.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
easy.
Yep. They're good, man. Um, Cardinals at Packers. That's a hard. What do you got that one? That's kind of interesting. Cardinals came off a big win against San Fran. Who do you got in that one?
And I'm buying into the Jordan Love hype. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm going to take Green Bay on this one, being at Lambeau. Um, I'm going to go in on Green Bay for this one.
I'm gonna go Green Bay too. We haven't gone against each other yet. I'm sure we'll have a couple of picks where we'll disagree, but yeah, I got the Packers though too. I'm all about Jordan Love. I think you said you watched last show, and I talked with Monty about Jordan Love. Like I
Yeah.
like Jordan Love, because he has big shoes to fill, and I like how he handles himself. Because man, it's got to be hard. Taking over for a guy like
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre before that. Like they got so much history, with quarterback at Packers and Lambeau Field. So I think Jordan Love. Yeah, I think he's a real deal. I don't think last year was a fluke. I think he's good. He's got hurt in the first game of the year. Now he's just trying to come back. I think he's going to be just fine. He had a better game last week, after he started slow the week before when he came back from injury, but he played much better this week. So, yeah, I think Packers will win. Colts at Titans.
Ooh, that's a good game. Good
Yeah,
AFC
that's
South
a hard
matchup.
one.
I don't know if Anthony Richardson's playing or not.
He didn't last week. They
He's-
had the old
yeah,
veteran Flacco in there.
so I don't know what his status is. I don't believe in Will Levis there at Tennessee.
Mm-mm.
So care who Indy's got starting at quarterback. I'm going to take Indy on this one.
Yeah, I'll take Indy on this one too. They've lost a couple in a row, but I think this is their bounce back week against a not so good Titans team. Yeah, Colts will bounce back this week. I think
Yeah, I mean
they
Tennessee
kind of
went
need
out
a game like this.
I don't understand Tennessee. They went out in the offseason. They got Calvin Ridley. They have Will Levis, who's supposed to be their next big quarterback. They went and made all these offseason acquisitions, and they're just laying an egg. They don't look like they're playing together. They just don't look good.
Yeah, I'm agree 1,000%. Like they're not doing anything, and they got rid of their coach a couple years ago. He's not even coaching right now. The one that
Yeah.
Brandon mentioned, who he hopes comes to the Jets. The
Yep.
ex-New England Patriots linebacker,
Mike Vrabel. Yeah.
Mike Vrabel. Yeah, I can't believe he doesn't have a job. He's a good coach.
I can't believe he didn't have a job either.
This one I think is kind of easy, but it is the NFL. It's any given Sunday. But your Texans at the Pats.
I got to go with my Texans.
Yeah, you gotta go with the
I
Texans.
mean,
Yeah.
coming off that big win against Buffalo last week, coming down to the last second, kicking a 59-yard field goal, and having Kaimi Fairbairn take the overall or the highest score
You
in
did
the
say that
franchise
before we
history.
started. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got to go with my Texans on this one. I think Drake May is supposed to be starting for New England this week. I'm not sure
Okay.
about that, but yeah, New England's a rebuilding team right now. They're a young team. I have full trust in Gerard Mayo and what he's doing over there, but it's just not their time right now.
No, he'll be
Taking
fine
my
overall.
Texans.
I agree. I think he's gonna be a good coach, but yeah, they're not gonna do anything this year. They had a surprise win at the beginning of the year against the Bengals. That surprised everybody, but since then they haven't done much. They did take Seattle to overtime in their home opener the week after, but since then they've looked really bad. Yeah, so I got Texans all the way, and that's a bad game. I think they're making a big mistake by starting this quarterback, especially against a defense like Houston Texans. Got a really good defense. I don't think Drake May should be playing this year at all, and then start in his first game being against Houston Texans. Like, That's
I
insane.
mean, just look what they did to Josh Allen
Allen,
last week. I mean,
9
they
out of
held him
30.
9
He was
out
at
of 30 for
30% completion
131
percentage.
yards. Yeah,
30% completion percentage.
I think he had
Insane.
3 completions in the first half.
Three. That's crazy, man. Um, Browns at Eagles, man. Eagles had a bye week last week. What do you got, man? Browns are really struggling on offense, man. They're like the bad news Browns again. People wearing paper bags over their heads.
Yeah, but Cleveland, they still got a really good defense.
They do, man. They got
They
Miles
got
Garrett.
Miles Garrett over there, and I believe in that defense. I don't believe in Deshaun Watson.
No.
And I think for that reason alone, I'm gonna have to go with Philly.
Yeah, I hate Philly because they're the biggest rival out for a Cowboys fan. I mean, Washington is too, but Eagles are by far number one, and I don't like them, but they will. I think they will win this game because, like I said, I feel bad for the Browns defense. Like I said, their defense is legit, but their offense is just really struggling. You know, and yeah, Eagles will win this game at home. This will be a nice bounce back game probably for them as well because they've been struggling the last couple of weeks also.
Yeah.
Chargers at Broncos. Broncos been playing better. Chargers. I mean, old Michigan head coach is off to a good start with the Chargers. So far this year, but Broncos defense is legit, man. Like Brandon said, you can't score more than 2 touchdowns against them. That's a fact right now. Their defense is something else, and it looks like Bo Nix is starting to get a little more comfortable being quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this one's I think this is one of my hardest picks this week. Um, I think, like Brandon said, that defense in Denver is playing lights out, uh, playing really good defense, stopping the ball and keeping the ball out of the end zone. And then the Chargers, Justin Herbert's being Justin Herbert. He's been injured. He's got that ankle problem that he had beginning of the season, and I think it's still kind of lingering around with him. That's why they're 2-2, and he just hasn't been the healthy Justin Herbert that we're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna go with Denver on this one. Maybe they'll have them squeak that one out.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I haven't gone against you yet, man. I think I'm with you. I think Broncos can squeak this out at home, especially with that defense of theirs. And if Bo Nix continues to grow week in, week out, I think they can win this game. So I'm with you there too. Um, Steelers at Raiders. Steelers obviously disappointing loss against my Cowboys. Raiders are better than they're not good, but they haven't completely tanked. I thought they were completely in rebuild mode, but then they upset the Ravens this year. So I'm like, what? So
Too much drama going on in Vegas, man. I figured that once they hired on the Antonio Pierce, that all that drama was going to go away.
yeah, I was hoping so.
But Devontae Adams wants out, and there's too much locker room drama going on there. And I
Yeah.
think Pitt's just got it together a little bit more than Vegas does.
Well,
I'm gonna take
yeah.
I'm gonna take Pitt on that one.
Well, Pitt's got Mike Tomlin, coach with not hasn't had a losing record in 18 years, like me and Monty had mentioned a dozen times on the show. That's amazing in itself, and I think the Steelers will win this game. Steelers are always been kind of up and down, but their coach is legit, man. He always seems to find a way to win. He pushes the right buttons at the right time. Falcons at the Panthers, man. What do you got,
Falcons.
man? Yeah, I think that's no brainer, man.
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
Kirk Cousins definitely found his home.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins found his home. They better not lose this game. I know they're playing at Carolina, and it is any given Sunday, but Carrot Top had one good week where they got them to win, and now Andy Dalton's kind of fallen off too. But he is doing better than Bryce Young being a veteran. But yeah, Falcons better win this game big. So they should on paper unless something crazy happens. But yeah, Falcons should win big. My team. Talk about your team already. Lions at Cowboys, man. I'm pretty sure you got the Lions. I'll let you talk about it, but Lions at
Hey, man.
Cowboys.
Yeah, like we've talked a bit about both teams already tonight. But you're right. I'm gonna take the Lions over the Cowboys. I'm gonna have them beating Cowboys at home in Jerryland. I mean, Jared Goff is that dude. Him and that defense they got is unstoppable. And I don't think Dallas is going to have the answers for that. The Dallas O line isn't what it used to be, and Aiden Hutchinson's just gonna. I think he's gonna tear Dak up.
Aiden Hutchinson is good, but Detroit's defense isn't great, but they're not bad. But they're not horrible. But I agree with you about Aiden Hutchinson, though.
Their
But I
front
think,
seven is strong. They're. I said their front seven is strong. They're lacking in the DBs.
yep. And hopefully that's where Dak Prescott can have a good game. I was just gonna go there. Yeah, Dak. Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be a good game, man. But the Cowboys are surprisingly bad at home. Before they lost, their first two home games this year, they had a 16 or 17 game home winning streak, and then it got shattered by New Orleans, and then 2 weeks in a row when Baltimore came in there beat them too. Cowboys did make a big comeback at the end to make it close, but they were getting beat 28-6, but the final score was 28-25. They made a nice comeback, but it was a little bit too late.
Yep.
But I won't go against my boys. I hope they got momentum going to get win in Pittsburgh. Not an easy place to play. It's a terrible towels, horrible effing weather. But both teams had to play in it, so there's no excuse. But had an hour and a half game delay. And I'm watching Monday Night Football like at 10:30 at night still, and so yeah. I think Cowboys will win, but it's gonna be a squeaker. I know one thing. I do know the Cowboys have. We absolutely have a kicker. So if it comes down to field goals, I trust the Cowboys kicker. So I'll say that much. We do have that. That's one thing I know we have. But CeeDee Lamb needs to play 4 halves of football. He always seems to play really good in the first half, and then they just it seems like him and Dak can't get connected in the second half. It happened again against Pittsburgh, but I'm just glad other guys, showed up and not just him because we needed all of them. So
he's got to find himself in the end zone.
yeah, he needs to get in the end zone. He only has one touchdown catch this year so far. Sunday Night Football, Bengals at the Giants. Bengals are surprisingly struggling. Giants won in Seattle. They're playing in the Meadowlands. Who do you got in this one?
Man, I tell you, the Bengals are missing Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
And it's showing. They can't get the run game going, which means they can't set up the pass game. And they're just not winning football games because of it. The Giants coming off that big win against Seattle. Man, I'm gonna have to go with the Giants at home on this one.
Okay. I like where your thoughts are at, and you're probably right, but I will go against you on this one. Bengals have to get this going somehow. I agree with you 1,000%. They're missing Joe Mixon really bad, but they still got a really good receiver. Him and Bengals quarterback Burrow went off last week, but they still lost. But Bengals defense is really struggling. That's one thing that's killing because it seems like the Bengals offense is doing okay. The Bengals defense is kind of like a big killer. Besides Joe Mixon, they are missing him on offense end, but no passing wise, Bengals are putting up stats. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are connecting like 2 or 3 big games in a row, and they're still losing games, even though they're just going completely off.
I agree with you. Last week it was Joe Burrow and T. Higgins going off.
Yep, that's right. That's right. They got T. Higgins too. Besides Jamar Chase, they got 2 good receivers on both sides of the ball. Their defense needs to get going, but Giants do not have a great offense, so that might help out the Bengals defense. I mean, they played good last week in Seattle but that's the best game by far they've had an offense all year long, and I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they'll do that 2 weeks in a row. So that's why I got the Bengals, man. But I might come back on and say that, hey, man, you were right and I was wrong. So we'll see. We'll see, man. I knew we had to go against each other at least on one pick. All right, Monday Night Football. Bills at the struggling Jets. This on paper does look like it would be a good game. I can see where it'll be a sexy matchup. 2 New York teams and Aaron Rodgers and Buffalo Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. But Jets are struggling, man. So what do you got, man?
I agree. The Jets are struggling, but I think they're both struggling right now.
Right.
I mean, Buffalo's defense looked pretty good last week against my Texans in the second half. First half, not so much. Um, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Buffalo, and I think Josh Allen's gonna figure out whatever he was missing this last week, and he's gonna find that against the Jets defense.
Um, yeah, I agree. I think Jets are in self-destruct mode. I'm obviously got a really good Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, but and they got Garrett Wilson, the receiver, and they have good running backs like Brees Hall. Like I don't know what's going on with the Jets offensively. They have the weapons, but like Brandon said, Nathaniel Hackett isn't doing the right things as the offensive coordinator. They're in self-destruct mode. They definitely have the talent to win this game, but they don't. But they're just not doing good. And yeah, I think Josh Allen and the Bills, will win this game, and Bills will bounce back because I think they lost. Yeah, they started off 3-0. Now they're 3-1, right? Or 3-2. They lost
They're
two in a
three and
row.
two.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
started off
they've
3-0.
lost
Now
two.
they've dropped two in a row, so they're 3-2. And I think the Bills will. This will be a bounce back game, for the Bills, man. So we shall
Yeah,
see,
I agree.
brother.
So we only got one different this week.
Only one, man. Where you at this Friday night for Friday Night Lights, man?
Friday night, I'm at Central. I've got
Okay.
two. I've got two games this week.
Oh, you got a
I've got,
Thursday game. That's why I said you wouldn't be available on Thursday. Where
yep.
you at that one?
I think I'm in Bremerton on that one.
Really? I thought I had Ole in Bremerton this week, but it
I'm
doesn't
in
matter.
Bremerton. It
Because
doesn't.
I got Bremerton versus Ole at Ole on Friday. That's where I'm at.
Oh no, I got Swimming North on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'll be at North Kitsap on Thursday against Swim.
Okay. Yeah, and I got the Ole Bremerton game at Ole. All right, man. Well, have fun at your two games, brother, and you know, thanks for doing this show with me. So for all of the viewers and subscribers, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Leave comments like always. Let us know who your picks are for all these NFL games and what you think about college football and all that good stuff, man. But yeah, Jay, thanks for doing this. You're always welcome back anytime. I need to try to get you and you know
Jim.
Jim on here at the same time with Monty because my best friend Monty's out this week, but we had to get us all on together, man. It should be
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome.
that'll be a
What
really good show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was a blast. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Me too, man. So I'll let you get back to what you're doing. I know we both gotta go to work in the morning. It's getting late, man. So I'll let you go, brother.
All right.